Hi guys, my name is Trevor Jones and this is my week one topic presentation. My professional background, 2 years of full-time substitute work for the Folsom Cordova Unified School District. I've had 3 years of coaching football for the high school and 1 year of coaching track and field for the middle school, which was a fun opportunity. I have developed close ties, but I'm currently waiting to student teach this upcoming school year. So I'm personal training during the summer to make money and to keep teaching, I guess. Let's go to the second question. What is my research about? Okay, so my research is to determine if what is being taught to our teachers as far as educating English language learners is effective. So and basically determining if teachers are transferring the English language learner supports and scaffolding tools that are being taught to them into their classroom. Research questions, and I'm doing this for multiple reasons. You'll see as I keep talking. Research questions. First question? What are the current components of a state mandated English language certification? So I kind of want the federal government to get a little bit more involved and force more education on this, since this is ELLs are a rapidly growing population in our public schools. They make up 10%. Every 1 in 10 students is an English language learner across the United States. That's nuts. My second question, what kind of supports do these trained teachers provide for their ELLs? So how are they scaffolding? Are they all just doing group work? Are they doing the bare minimum? Who's doing the best? Who's incorporating all this research and all this new research and strategies that are out there for us to help aid our English language learners in the general education classroom? Who's using them? Are we being effective? Because the research shows they work. We're going to close this academic achievement gap between non-ELLs and ELLs. So kind of accountability. Third question, what are the effective assessment and accountability practices for teacher preparation ELL programs? How do we hold these teachers accountable for using these strategies if they are not? There's multiple options out there. We have kids surveys. We have people come and check. How do we hold teachers accountable for practicing these new strategies learned? And the fourth question is, what is the ongoing professional training of these teachers? And how does it relate to the success of the English language learners in their classrooms? So who's still learning? Pre-service ELL training is still somewhat new, so there are many teachers that receive none to barely any pre-service training on educating this special population of English language learners. In that case, what kind of ongoing training, workshops have they learned? Have they taken what they've learned and transferred it into their classrooms? Are they using it's coming back, are they using these supports for their students? What also included in there is, I'll explain later, but what did they find most helpful? What workshops? Because another purpose of this study could be to identify important workshops, important techniques that are the most beneficial that these teachers I'm surveying taught. All right, let's go to the next question. How am I going to investigate these questions? I'm going to use a survey method. It's going to be mixed. It's going to have quantitative and qualitative parts. Quantitative, there'll be checklist of supports I've researched and I've learned that help these English language learners in your classroom. So they'll check off what ones they use, and there'll be a spot for if they have other strategies, whether they learned it somewhere else I wasn't aware of, I didn't get it in my research, or they made it up on their own because they found it works. That's the quantitative part. The qualitative is, there are those questions of, are you receiving ongoing training? Have you? What did you find most helpful? What did you get from it? Also, I'm going to have a part where it talks about the demographic of ELLs. So I kind of want to know who has the most ELLs, and I want to see if that relates to how many supports they're using. Have they had training, or was it ongoing training, or was it the purpose of their high population of ELLs in their classroom just force them to go find that training and research it on their own? So I'm looking for connections there. So it's a mixed survey. They'll have checklists, and they'll have opportunities to explain their demographics, and they'll have opportunities to explain their ongoing training, and they will have a space where they tell me what their opinions of what was the most effective way they learned these strategies. All right, next question. Methodology, I talked about that. I touched upon that with the research, with the survey. How am I going to get it going is I'm going to use the Folsom Cordova Unified School District that I work for currently and coach for. I'm going to write a letter explaining my survey, send them a copy of the survey, the reason for it, for this course, of course. Anyways, I should tie myself off track. Okay, so and then I'm going to go meet them face to face, the administration. I'm sitting at the administrative office, and I'm going to use them to give me a list of teachers' emails if I get their confirmation emails, and just email all these teachers with the survey using SurveyMonkey, the online website. I could send them through that website my surveys that I created personally, and I can also receive them through that website. So that'll really help the data collection part. As far as how I'm going to organize this data, it's going to be 3 parts. I'm going to be looking for patterns. So I'll have the quantitative part with how many supports each teacher uses. And I'm also going to note the highest, most frequently used supports and the lowest, least frequently used, and kind of find a mean medium mode there of my quantitative data. And then I'm going to match that up with teachers' demographics and student demographics and teachers' educational background on teaching ELLs and their opinions, and I'm going to look for patterns. If I'm finding that not a lot of teachers are transferring this knowledge, I might have a case for what we're learning at this level, and even in our ongoing training isn't as effective. We have to find a different way of getting this information across. Maybe instead of teaching us about strategies, we practice using these strategies. That would make teachers probably more comfortable to transferring these supports. Or if I find that these supports are very effective and what we're learning is great, and some teachers just aren't putting in the work, as I stated earlier, we could focus on giving some more check marks with them. Maybe a principal can come and check with them. How do we keep them accountable? These teachers that aren't using the newest and latest research and practices to further their ELL success. Let's see. Finally, share the view. If I could travel back in time, like 3 months ago, I would have done my literature review different. At first, I was just kind of researching the topic, and I think I reviewed like 20 pieces of literature. I did single spaced, and I did too much information. I spent too much time on it, and then I realized that only half of this is going to translate to my actual research question. So I would have narrowed that down, and because I had to basically do it half over again. I had to narrow what I had, and then I had to go find more that would help with my research question. So I would definitely I would do the part to chapter 2 literature review much different. Also, I would kind of narrow my question. You probably have gathered at this point that I am looking for, it's almost like I'm throwing bait out there, trying to find patterns. It's with good intention. If we do have great courses, if I find these teachers who have taken these courses are using the most amount of supports, that could be cause for reason for further investigation into those courses. Maybe those should be mandatory. We have the research is out there, but we're still in the earlier stages of really locking this down federally and getting these teachers properly prepared for teaching this, again, rowing ELL population, student population. So it's just tighten down the bolts and nuts of things, maybe add accountability, we could add better training, um, we could determine that it really, none of that matters. It's kind of trial by fire. If you have a ton of ELLs in your classroom, you just got to figure it out. And if so, do we find ways to give those teachers more support? So it's kind of digging in, and I'm going to use this information, and who knows, maybe I'll find another use for it. But I want to figure out if these teachers are being effective with what they're taught, and then kind of root from there. So that's my project. That's my research proposal. I hope you enjoyed it. My stumbling around a little bit. Anyways, thank you.